All right. It is the second episode of the Psychedelic Athlete Podcast. I've been so stoked to start this podcast. I have Sean Daugherty on the line with me. It's actually funny because I found Sean, I knew of him and knew generally that he existed through catch wrestling and being a fan of MMA. But I heard him on Grappling Central podcast and it led me to reaching out to him. He's one of like the few people I've heard on a podcast and was like, I need to reach out to this person and tell them that it was just very inspiring to hear them talk about things and some parallel thoughts and maybe like, it was just very affirming, some thoughts that maybe I wasn't as confident with in my own martial arts journey and awarenesses that I had, that Sean's open-minded perspective really was paradigm shifting for me. And even though we've been friends from a distance, it's somebody that I'm very close with, and I'm inspired by and look up to. And when I made this podcast, I thought I could go out there and get a lot of guests that have some semblance of clout and have fan base. And I don't know them from Adam, and we may or may not have a good conversation, but yay, they have fans. So it might generate attention. But I was like, you know what? I have people that I love and adore that I would love to have conversations with. And unless it's like some person with like 500,000 followers, I couldn't care less about getting some name. I just want quality guests. And then I want to bring my friends into the fold, in my real life too, like just average people, not average, but average as far as they've never aspired to do anything like this or be likened to the things that people who are common podcasts.
This is a synchronicity right now.
Yes.
When I was out in the garage, just before this, I was thinking about, if I ever did podcasts, I'd have like once in a while, I'd have my regular friends on, people have nothing to do with the industry, all the things that I do, just to keep it real, because it's real. I think anybody, you bump into anybody on this planet and you get to know them. And if you read their biography, you'd love them.
Yeah.
There's not many people you wouldn't. I mean, there's some horrible people out there, but for the most part, people are interesting, man.
Yes.
If you just stop, look, and listen, you'll find shit out. Like I'm really happy that you reached out to me and that, because I like your stuff too. I mean, it's like we're on the same page on a lot of things, and it was. I'm glad I did that podcast because a few people reached out to me, you being one of them. And I've kept friendships from it. It was pretty raw. I was pretty honest with everything I talked about in there. But I mean, like if you listen to anybody at any given moment, you'd be intrigued.
Yes, dude. And it's crazy because honestly, there's oftentimes the people that don't try to go out of their way, the people who are like, fuck the whole Instagram thing, fuck social media, I just live my life. Those are the people where you'd kind of want to twist their arm. It's like there's a lot of people out there that aren't doing everything they possibly can to be the atypical podcast guest.
Look at my Instagram. I've got I forget what it is, maybe 70 posts, and I started that thing in like 2016. Yes. I have anxiety over that shit, man. And I have a hard time keeping up just with my phone alone, man. And it's just so anxiety. I mean, I get anxiety. Like it's like if I hear my phone ding and I got to communicate with somebody, it's a process for me to go through. It's really hard. And around this time of year, I'm really a non-communicative person. Like all my friends have to, or I'll ding my friends every once in a while, let them know I'm still alive and shit like that, or they'll check in on me. But I go dark, man. I'm an oversensitive human being, highly sensitive. I probably got a lot of mirror neurons.
Yeah.
I feel like if I can't watch Senfails, I can't watch skaters hit their head, off of, doing rails and stuff. I feel stuff, right away. And when I communicate with people and I go out in the world and I do things and I'm around people, I have to smudge, man. I have to like I'm like a cockroach. I got to clean myself off of the humans.
Right.
And the energy is just too much. And by the end of the year, after the summer, where I'm just high energy, on fire, and I'm going, and constantly immersed with people, around this time of year, the sun goes down, It's kind of like the reset. People think that this is a bad time, like SADS, seasonal affective disorder. You get depressed during this time because of lack of sunlight and stuff like that. But to me, I've been thinking about it in a new light, that it's more of like a forced slowdown. It's a forced recovery in a way. It's telling us to slow the fuck down, follow nature, man. Follow the rhythms. We've broken rhythms of everything. We're out of rhythm with nature so fucking bad that we have to create these fucking boxy, square, concrete, rebarred lines, and and confine ourselves in things, and it's nuts. But yeah, when we're more in rhythm with everything else, this is a time of year to recover, to hibernate.
I used to do, of all things, slam poetry. And when somebody would say like a line that resonated, people would snap. And I just thought, like, I want to start a thing on my podcast now where I snap because I wanted to snap when you started saying how you weren't thinking about it in the old light and light that you were thinking in, like it was a snap moment. And yeah, you're true to that, man. And it's funny because I'm friends with you on Instagram, and people probably follow you on there, and they might not, I'm about to read just some things that some of your accolades, and you're probably the type of person that almost cringes to hear people say all of the amazing and not cringes, but like, you're not the person to write in your bio all of these things. Like, I'm a big fan of The Ultimate Fighter. We've even talked about The Ultimate Fighter a little bit. And sometimes I check these people out on Instagram. I follow some of these characters from the show. Some of them never even had a fight on the show because they missed weight or they whatever. And like the first line of their bio in all caps is tough veteran and season whatever. And every like few months, they're regurgitating these photos from Tough. And so you have all of the following, what I'm about to say, and you would never know almost any of it probably to just explore you on your social media. Probably in conversation, you don't bring all of this stuff up the way a lot of people do. And it's something that I really, really, really respect. And let's just go over real quick. You're a black belt in several martial arts: jiu-jitsu, judo, taekwondo, shingitae jiu-jitsu, which, by the way, I don't know much about shingitae, but my ex-girlfriend left me for a guy who was a black belt in shingitae, so I'm sure it sucks. I'm sure it's like the lamest black belt you have. No. Oh God. Eric Kronstadt. I think he's a black belt in it. He did it for a while. There's actually a school not far from me in Maryland, in Baltimore County, in the Parkville area. I forget the actual name of it.
Mike Coleman has it.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's his main MMA fighter student. He goes by the Viking.
It's not Doc. Oh, is he the Viking? Oh yeah. Holy
yes,
shit.
Yeah, dude. So my ex-girlfriend is dating him now. They're fine. I mean, it's not like a serious thing, but that's who she did leave me for him, but
It's not his fault though.
No, I don't care. It's fine. Yeah, I don't have any issue with him. I just,
so fucked up small world.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it is funny though. That's so funny, him. So, you're under, as far as I know, 8-0 kickboxer. I was actually listening back to the Grappling Central podcast that you did today, just kind of refreshing my memory of some things.
Well, there's old kayfabes though. Like, if you watch me in my interview for UFC 2, it says I was 15-0 in kickboxing.
Oh, wow. So let's go with 20-0. If you heard him on the Psychedelic Athlete podcast, he's 400-0.
Right. So by the time you get into the professional world of anything, nothing's real.
I love that word, by the way, kayfabe. I mean, you coming from catch wrestling, I don't know if I don't know if that's your familiarity, but there's a guy, Eric Weinstein, that likes to talk about it too, like just kind of this bizarre art form and like poetry of life and blurred lines of reality. And I think back to the movie Big Fish.
It's illusion. It's all illusion. It's the illusion is the key in marketing. And this is all comes from the vaudeville times. It's magicians. It's not real magic, like chaos magic. I'm talking like you're on stage, David Copperfield bullshit. It's all sleight of hand. Nothing's real. everything's designed to keep you hooked and keep you buying and keep you consuming. I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, you're right, dude. I mean, in a way, I mean, what's the difference between the blurred line between the subjective nature that we absorb and transmit information? We're not even aware of the kayfabe of our own life.
Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's like this is the Matrix, and it's like, you know, the institution of life, you know, that we've been brainwashed into since we went to kindergarten and preschool. You know, that's why all the buildings look the same. You know, prisons are built made from the same materials as the schools are.
Yes.
It looks the same. You know, we're a fucking communist country, and we've been this way for fucking years. People don't know that.
Yeah.
We're drones. They're creating drones in order to keep us stupid and fed and bred in circus, traded for our freedom of will and this desire to live. You know, we gave into comfort and placidity.
Yeah.
It'll kill us, you know, and it is. It's driving us nuts. And then you have us people, lots of people that wake up to it, or people who never bought into it, like the punks. You know, I grew up in the punk rock way of life, and it was always about seeing through the bullshit. And you know, I didn't want to go to prom. I didn't want to do all the shit that everybody was brainwashing into going to do. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You know, I don't give a fuck. You know, I pay for my kids to do it, whatever. But my kids don't want to. You know, I'm their dad. They learned. But they saw the bullshit early as well, and I wanted to raise my kids that way. I didn't want them to be fooled and to have their feelings hurt because somebody didn't ask them to something, or they didn't do this social thing that everybody else is doing, because it's all by design to keep us distracted from real things in life, about actually thinking about life and death and real love and how to change the world and how to change ourselves. I mean, like the shit we should be thinking about. We're being sleight of handed, looking everywhere else, you know. And then all the people who want to keep the power, those who make the money and have everything to gain from our subservient dronehood of consumerism, you know, that's how they stay in power, you know. And now people are waking up, you know, finally people are understanding some conspiracies. Now, I'm not into all the conspiracies like the fucking QAnon and all how far and crazy that shit goes, but there's shit, the conspiracy facts. I understand how people can be so fucking untrusting and so like caught up in all this stuff, because they're realizing, holy shit, we've been lied to. There is a kayfabe. America's waking up to the kayfabe of our way of life right now. Some people are saying, wow, this really is bullshit. You know, I remember when Food Inc. came out, and I learned about the food industry. Holy shit. You know, I remember back then, that was like 2013, I saw this. and like the people today that are now talking about conspiracies and blowing all this shit up, when this shit was brought up then, those guys were saying, shut the fuck up. There's nothing wrong with the way it is. You're a conspiracy theorist. You know, they were like, the people that are holding on to conspiracy theory right now and went full crazy with it were the ones 10 years ago that were like criticizing, saying, shut up, they got to make the money. The rich shouldn't pay their taxes, because if they pay their taxes, then we make less money and all this. Well, that's not trickle down economics. I thought that was the solution.
Yeah, dude, it's funny when you said that about you know, we're in a communist and we don't even know it. I just had this weird, bizarre, this explains the way my brain works. I just had this like punk rock thought of like a Matrix reference where a hand's holding out the red and blue pill. And it's like, you know, it's kind of like the political hand. And it's like, do you want the red pill or the blue pill? And then the sheep is just anything but the hard to swallow one. You know, anything but that hard to swallow pill, because you have a lot of hard to swallow pills that, I mean, it'd be nice if you were saying something that was silly and outlandish so we could just discredit it all. Like that's where a lot of the conspiracy people go wrong, is they put their stock in a couple that are just bunk, and then it just discredits everything. But I don't know, man. I don't know about you, but it's very uncomfortable for me to think about negative and destructive things that I really can't affect. So if it's not my goal to like put my all into changing the political landscape and all of that and the social landscape, then it's very hard for me to be as aware and focused on all of the toxicity and misinformation and misunderstanding and that, because it's going to make me want to be that voice for that, because it's hard for me to not try to change things that are fucked up.
Yeah. And I'm learning how to just keep my mouth shut and not try, because anytime I try to speak on something, it just backfires. It doesn't get, if I have a conversation face to face, it always works well. But if I try to like do a blurb on Instagram and say it, you know, something that makes sense to me, you know, and I try to bring some reason out there, it's the anxiety of it all, of trying to have to communicate, and I don't have it in me. I'm not I'm not like I said, I can't I can't just talk into I'm not the kind of person who can put my phone on Facebook Live and drive and sit there and talk to the world, you know, talking with Joe Pera. It's like I can't do that. I have to have engagement. I have to have dialogue. I have to have guidance too, because I forget shit. You know, like I'll be sitting here talking to you and I forgot everything I just said. You know, that could be, you know, it's all the compound concussions from my career, but who knows? But yeah, so okay, so back to that. So the quick downhill of it all is you know, I started martial arts when I was in 1990. I think it was the same year the movie Say Anything came out.
John Cusack. Yeah, great movie.
For the 90s. And then did they had the 8-0 record, local fights, you know, around Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, no big deal, West Virginia, but it was just small potatoes, American kickboxing, everything above the waist. And then fast forward to November 14th it was, or November 11th, maybe November 14th of 1993. No, 94. It was 93 for UFC 1, right?
I think I'm bad with dates like that.
Yeah. So I watched UFC 1. I told my friends I'm going to be in the next one. I had this feeling, I just fucking knew it. And then the very next week, I fulfilled a commitment that I made to a friend, Kelly Gallant and Bill Gallant, up in Buffalo, New York, to be a judge and a referee in their karate tournament. They turned out to be friends with Kevin Rozier, who was in the first UFC. He's the one that Gerard Jordeau stomped in the head over and over again. At the end, or at the end of the match, he was just a hot mess, giant. If you know who Kevin Rozier is, you know who Kevin Rozier. So
tooth got knocked out, right?
What's that?
Is he the guy whose tooth got knocked out?
That was Taylor Tooley. His tooth.
Okay.
Okay. But he was the one laying down on the ground on his side.
Yeah.
Gerard was like stomping on him, beat the shit out of him. Anyways, so he was a pro kickboxer. I met him there at that tournament, and I asked, you know, I needed a coach to help me turn pro in kickboxing, because, you know, after I had 8 fights and amateur, so I was like, oh, I want to go further with this. Wasn't even thinking about UFC. Forgot I even said, you know, that kind of stuff. It wasn't on my mind. I wasn't linking anything. But he said, yeah, sure. And I moved in January 1st, 1994 in Buffalo, New York. And it turned out he was bipolar with a bipolar manic depressant with a cocaine addiction. You know, it was a roller coaster. At the time, I ended up being homeless. He checked himself into the hospital, you know, kind of thing. But his manager, Charlie Anzalone, he was like, man, if I would have known this situation was happening, that he was having you move up here and all that kind of stuff, I would have told you, no, you know, don't do it. But since you're here and you're already living in hell and wasting all your time, why don't you go home, you know, and I'll see about getting you in the UFC. And I'm like, okay. I went home. He flew to LA to sit down with Art Davey and Horion. brought some pictures of me, some headshots and stuff like that. I got a call and said, hey, yeah, you're going to be an alternate in the next one. And then 2 weeks prior to the UFC 2, I got a call from Art Davey that said Ken just broke his hand in training and I needed to take his place as a main fighter. So I got pulled out of the alternates and I became one of the main fighters. And I ended up being the first fight of the night. I fought a ninja named Scott Morris, and it was Big John McCarthy's first Let's Get It On. This was the first time he ever refereed.
Wow.
So and I didn't win. I lost in like fucking 18 seconds, man. I got choked. He came running across the ring. I threw some punches and elbows and kicks. He wrapped me up, and he did basically like a tomonage, but like head and arm sacrifice roll back, and I pulled his legs over on top of me where he's in full mount and he's got head and arm. I pulled him over on top of me. That's how much I didn't know, right? It's insane. Like I always have the shoulda, woulda, couldas. If I would have known a little bit more, I could have done so much better. But I was never meant to be a champion. I guess it wasn't part of my life journey, and that really hurt me. And also I had injuries. I had injuries all the time. So I had UFC 2, and then Ken recruited me from there to go be a part of Lions Den, and that was in '94. It was like sort of original Lions Den. Your real original Lions Den is Scott Fizak and what the fuck's his name? Vernon White.
Oh,
those two guys are the old school. But you had me, Jason DeLucia, and Frank. We were roommates, all roommates. And we were the first time that Ken had a solid group of committed fighters, because you always had people coming in from the streets. They come and go. Everybody's got drug problems, old lady problems. That's the thing about fighters. That's what ruins fighters, is their personal life. If a fighter can have their personal life in check, their career is going to be in check. It's going to be good shit. But it's always, it's dealing with fighters, man. It's always a personal life. It's always fucking shit. What was I saying?
Crazy. You're just talking about you, Frank, all them. The first time there was a stable of dedicated guys who actually had some discipline.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So so that was like Ken called that the first real, because you had Scott was always good and Vernon was always good, but you had all these people that just kind of came in and out. Then you had Scott, Vernon, me, Jason DeLucia, and Frank. That was the core. And then I got a neck injury while I was there, and then I had to come home and heal up, and then I became a Mormon while I was coming home healing up, served a mission, got married, and then I met John Saylor, and that's how I started with the shingitae, jiu-jitsu, and judo.
Was he a Mormon?
No. It's just the Mormonism that got me married and on a mission.
Right.
I left the church. I'm no longer a Mormon. Back in 2016.
When did you go into the Air Force?
That was so I was supposed to swear in on September 11th.
Okay.
2001, but I ended up swearing in the next day on 2012. On September 12th. 2001, went into delayed entry, went into actual basic on January 8th of 2002. And then I exited 2010.
Yeah. So I do want to hear something I heard that you mentioned. Tell me the workouts that you guys did at the Lions Den, the physical training. This is like a lost part of MMA, and it may be for the better or for the worse.
Yeah,
probably somewhere in the between. Probably somewhere in the in between. But tell me this damned workout you guys did as a team. I remember you said something like 500 squats. Go from there, just general.
So, context is we were eating like bodybuilders. Chicken and rice, everything plain. Chicken breast. There's no fat on us whatsoever. No fat on our joints. Nothing's lubed up. We're dry as a bone training like this. Fucking nuts. Anyways. Yeah, so we got Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. Would be wake up get to, what was it called? Twin Arbors gym and lift weights from like 8 to 10, like do a workout from like 8 to 10, eat, rest, go while we're going to the gym, you're kind of recovering, eating, and giving ourselves about an hour and a half, 2 hour recovery break. And then we start 500 squats, 500 push-ups, 500 sit-ups, or no, 200 push-ups, 500 sit-ups, 500 leg lifts. And then we had to do 5 rounds of dragon rolls, 5 rounds of 5 minutes of monkey sprawls where you're jumping over the rope, and then you do 25 jumps back and forth over the rope, and then you do 25 sprawls, jump over and sprawl. I'm talking, this shit will make you puke, but it's just nonstop, go. And then after all that, then we do what do you call it? Just tons of wrestling, just grapple, king of the mat, kind of shit, just tons of drills. I mean, you're just going. Then go home, rest, and then come back around 6 and then do a technique part for a couple hours. That was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then Tuesday, Thursday, that was so we still lifted in the morning, 8 to 10. And then we did a 2-mile run, deck of the gotch deck of cards where, each card represented something, a workout, and then the number was the reps. So we would do the Bible workout, lots of technique on those days, kind of thing. Again, go back home, rest, and then come back around 6 and hit it again. And then Saturday was a technique day. Wasn't too hard, but Sunday was really the only rest. But
now,
it was the diet and just constant going.
It's so hard for me I've never done a workout like that. Like I've done I've trained, I've done CrossFit competitions a couple times. I've always that's probably training for that sort of thing is a little intense, but, and I've done some cool, strongman blocks. And I mean, I power lifted, pretty, for a few years competitively, and I've done other things, but it's hard for me to, so do you get acclimated to that type of output? Is there a time where that is just going for a few months, like how a marathon runner can run a marathon and they can go and run 10 miles and it's easy, but if you don't run 10 miles might cripple you?
Yeah, it's anatomical adaptation, of course. But here's one of the things that it's, people hold it as a badge of a tough guy kind of thing, but it's fucking stupid, is that it was Pancrase. We trained the Japanese way, right? Like Ken did exactly how the Pancrase and the Fujiwara fighters did shit, so that when we went to Japan, we could keep up with everybody there. So it's well known that all Japanese fighters are fighting with an injury. All their fights, they're nursing an injury, whether it be a broken bone, a broken rib, a torn ligament, or whatever. Kazushi Sakuraba is a perfect example of that. But the same thing with Ken, same thing with all of our fighters that we had at Lions Den. It was always known that we're going to be fighting with an injury.
Right.
And then that's why to people like me and, my generation, or us, that mindset, we hear people pulling out of fights over stupid shit. You know what I mean? Things that are wow, I would never pull out for that, but okay. But as I look back, it's fucking, I see now, I made the connection that all that overtraining and poor diet contributed to constantly being injured. And imagine how much of a better fighter, when Frank Shamrock broke away from Ken, that fucker shined, dude. That you saw his technique go through the roof. He went off further. It wasn't, what the Lions then gave a really good prototype of a team aspect of training. And the only other place I've seen so far that really does it like that is Strong Style.
That's where you're at for people who don't know.
Oh, yeah, Strong Style. Okay, well, I'm not there. Well, you don't know, but I'm taking I had to take a break from there. That's part of the whole energy stuff.
Right.
We were talking about earlier, it gets overwhelming. Hard for me to just deal with people all the time and things like that. Completely amicable. That's my family. That's my home team is Strong Style.
Yes.
So it always will be. But I'm inventing I have some inventions that I've been working on for workout tools. I needed to pour my focus in on. I needed to really focus on my family, because me driving up there I never saw my kids because they would get home from school and I was already driving up.
Yeah.
So it was basically a second shift job. So last year I was disconnected from my kids. Plus COVID, in the back of my head, I've had COVID twice now. I went ahead and got vaccinated. Now I'm not anti-vax. I am not pro-vax. I am definitely anti-mandate.
Right.
That's where I stand. I believe in choice. Don't fucking call me a goddamn sheep for fucking getting getting the vaccine. I'll put my fist through your goddamn fucking idiotic face. I fucking hate that shit.
Right.
I mean, it's like slut shaming. It's just stupid. I fucking hate both parties. I hate you fucking both equally. I'm so disenfranchised. And when I hear someone say, yeah, but that party is better than the other, fuck off, man. Anybody who believes this shit, I don't want fucking nothing to do with you.
Right.
Seriously, I don't want anybody in my life that doesn't believe both parties are fucked and that it is the wrong way, Right. If they don't believe that they're friends behind closed doors and that they're doing exactly how this is their kayfabe. Jesse the Body Ventura wrote an awesome book called Democrats and Republicans. I sat and read the whole fucking book standing up in Barnes and Noble. It was great. That was my first big woo, because there's a thing that most Americans don't even know this term. It's called political theology. It's making the politics a religion. I know so many fucking people where you would believe that they think that the presidency is Jesus Christ himself and everything is divine and everything is done by God's will. And these are the people who think that Christianity is our national religion. It's like, shut the fuck up. We don't have that. That's an Islamic thing, and you supposedly hate Islam. And if Christians in America saw a picture of an Islamic family with AK-47s,
right.
But yet you see these Christian families here in America with their AR-15s. What's the fucking difference? That's fucking radicalism. That's fucking crazy. You're weaponizing religion. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Constantine,
since I think in memes,
it all started with fucking Constantine to begin with. He's the first one to weaponize Christianity, asshole.
Yeah. Since I think in memes, just like the pill thing, I thought about how it's like there's a carton of eggs and the one half of the eggs are like, fuck 6. And the other half are like, fuck half a dozen. That's the way my brain part too.
Yeah, dude, no, that's no, I get it. That's
I'm with you. I agree with everything you just said. And you know what? It's like something that you could talk to somebody who's smart, respects your knowledge, doesn't disagree with you, but then somehow they wake up tomorrow morning and they think that the president is either God or the devil, depending on which side that they're on. They're either the best person ever or the worst person ever, because that's easier.
It's like everybody's got borderline personality disorder. That's what can be. Like 1 second you're an angel, the next day you're the devil. It's like, oh, what's going on here? But yeah, I got the vaccine because the COVID fucked me up, man. I'm one of those long haulers. It puts me down for about 2 months.
Whoa, both times?
Yeah, that's how long I drug out. I mean, I wasn't in the hospital or nothing like that, but it lit up I've had 19 surgeries so far, and anything that I've had surgery on or anything that's arthritic, holy shit, man, the rheumatic part of the sickness is killed me. I fucking cried one morning. Because the pain was so bad, I cried. But this is before I got tested for COVID. I didn't know I had COVID. I just thought my back was fucked. I just thought my body was really falling apart and my life was over.
Right.
Kind of thing. And I just start crying. I'm like, fuck, and this pain is unrelenting. And then I found out it was COVID, and all I had to do was like a scarlet fever kind of thing. It was like a rheumatic attack on my joints.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, what's your Bud Light thing? I see I have a Bud Light seltzer. Me too. Oh, dude.
Cranberry.
Mine is summer ice.
I got the holiday pack, dude.
That had eggnog. I was nervous about that.
That's my wife's favorite.
Is it good?
Yeah, eggnog is good. So I get it because it's my wife's favorite. But this has cherry cordial. Holy shit! That
looks good.
That's what's in this pack. cherry cordials in it, and then you have sugar plum, and then this is cranberry.
Yeah, if I don't like the eggnog, I'll just give it to my dog. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll tell you, they just came out with the sours, the Bud Light Seltzer sours. Those are amazing too.
Oh, I gotta try
Yeah,
that.
it's got like a blue raspberry one, an apple one, a watermelon one, and then a lemon one that tastes similar to
You know how many
the
people that'd be watching this who are gonna be like, you little fucking
the
weird
second they find out we drink seltzers, they're turning it off.
what's wrong with you? You're mad.
Yeah.
I got a beard. Fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah.
My beard levels it out. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that you can kick somebody's ass and had 19 surgeries and CTE makes the seltzer not that big of a deal. One thing I definitely want to talk about. It's something I can relate to a degree. I know you've talked about it before. Talked about having a tougher time growing up, being kind of an alternative minded guy, and I guess getting picked on and just hating your situation. And it's something that struck a nerve hearing it again, listening to you, was the thought of, from like as early as you can remember, essentially having suicidal thoughts that maybe stemmed from your parents getting divorced at such a young age, or from other things. But regardless, like literally at an insanely young age, dealing with that sort of thing, and how that gets ingrained in your DNA, even if you know better, in a way like, you're talking about these seasonal things like that. I can relate to, despite being on the other side of things like that, still having a bizarre connection that maybe the average person doesn't understand. I'm not hijacking and speaking for you.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Tell me a little bit about
you're accurate as fuck. You're good. Thanks.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about like what growing up, the psychology, maybe, I mean, it's probably what led you to be, a good fighter, a sensitive person, an understanding person, that some of the things you've touched on. But yeah, I guess the ultimate question too would be also, like, on the brighter side of things, like turning points in your life, like maybe having kids, maybe achieving some level of success, accomplishing certain amount of goals. Were there times where you felt like you were completely on the other side of these sorts of notions?
So yeah, like it kind of goes to that, like that I'm a hypersensitive human. I've taken, imagine like the amount of information I take in and absorb is like a fucking shotgun blast, right? And the average person might be, like a normal, non-divergent brain might be, like a 20 ounce, or I mean, 20 ounce shit,
Yeah.
like a 9 millimeter, of information. But this is just like, ugh. So I always saw shit. Like when I was a kid, I saw through the kayfabe of life. I would ask a question like, oh, well, let's just do this. Why don't we just fix this or this and that? And somebody says, well, that's not how it works. When the answer is fucking obvious and you know how to fix something and you know how to take care of something, and somebody tells you that's not how it works, and you're 5 years old, 6 years old, it's like, that's fucked up. I already see what you're telling me. I understood what that meant. It wasn't like, oh, okay.
Right.
No, I was like, no,
Yeah.
no. And they're just telling me to shut the fuck up. I was the guy that was always being told, shut the fuck up. There's nobody behind the curtain, So that was depressing. That I had all this love and desire to help and do things for other people, and it was squashed. And no matter the things that I said, my point of view and my perspectives of the things I ever said, I was always told I was fucking weird. I would just say the weirdest shit. And I look back, I'm like, no, man, any adult that would hear me now as a child then would have been like, no, that's profound. That's good. And they would have like, no, let's nurture this kid. Shit, man, this kid's on a good path. Let's nurture him. Let's really take these things. But I was a latchkey kid. Nobody knew I had depression. Nobody fucking knew that I wanted to kill myself at such a young age. I was being a latchkey kid, 5 years old, 6 years old, and 13, 14-year-old neighborhood kid had me suck his dick, they talk, through psychology, talk me into it, shit like that. And then I gotta wonder what's up with that, with that kind of shit. Constantly afraid of life. I was just constantly afraid. I was always alone. just living in, that's just what it was. It's just constant fear. Like my first breakthrough was when I had a psychologist in the military that kind of says like, it's almost like you're born with as a prey. Like, because like I never could sleep at night. My sleep schedule's more like once the sun comes up, I'm ready to fall asleep. It's like, okay, but that's safety. Because I was afraid of the dark kind of thing. So I had to stay vigilant. I have hypervigilance disorder and PTSD, generalized anxiety. But I've had it since I was a kid. I lived with it. Like I had to be an autodidact because I had no fucking parent that was qualified to even be a fucking parent, let alone deal with somebody who had all these issues that nobody fucking knew about. ADHD, fucking depressed, suicidal ideations, and this is all at the age of fucking 5, bro. You know? And they were oblivious. My brothers were oblivious. Everyone was oblivious. My brothers are 14, 13, 12 years older than me. And then after my dad divorced my mom when I was 3, he got remarried. And then, you know, I had my little brother and sister who are 4 and 8 years apart from me. And then they got divorced and then had stepbrothers, and then they got divorced and you know, and I was just constantly drugged through things. You know, I was drugged through by my dad's ego and his narcissism. I was drugged through by my mom's narcissism and her ego, and those two hating each other. And fuck, bro. I mean, I'm just thinking about it right now. I mean, I'm kind of like, it's like I stop and think about it sometimes, and I have to give myself some credit, you know, because I fucking made it. You know, I've been married for 25 years. I've got 4 kids, you know, 3 boys and a daughter. You know, they're all balanced. Yeah, there's some depression in this house that's genetic. But we all communicate, you know, it's different. I have a living situation with my family. Like, a lot of people would probably criticize the way I do things. They would judge me and criticize me, but I know that what I'm doing is right. Just like when I was a kid, I knew what the fuck I was doing was right. I knew the way I was thinking was right, and everybody else was wrong. And I'm not saying that like a narcissist kind of thing. Everybody's wrong and I'm right. I'm just saying through trial and error and through my life experiences, I know I was right, and I know I'm right now about how I am to be. And it changes because everything fluxes. You know, on my Instagram page, I have one of my epiphanies in life I put on there, and the goal is fixed and permanent, but the plan is flexible and disposable. Yes. You have to change your plans. You have to do different things. You're always changing. You're always growing. And if you're always stagnant and you're doing the same things, like in lifting, anatomical adaptation, that's why the conjugate method works, is because it's constantly changing things. It doesn't allow you to adapt. Adaptation is what will kill you. You have to constantly be shocking your system, taxing your central nervous system. You know, that's what causes plaque in the brain, is lack of figuring shit out, like having problems to figure out and doing stuff. Placidity will kill you in so many ways. It'll clog your arteries. It will cause your brain to plaque up and give you Alzheimer's, you know, give you dementia. You know, you have to have adversity. You have to have, but it doesn't have to be horrible. We don't have to seek out terrible life. We still have to have our recovery. I don't know if that makes sense. You know, like these people who are just constantly stoic. Stoic is a light switch, man. You can't live like a stoic all the fucking time. It's just no fun.
No.
I'm a hedonist. So.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I can definitely 100% relate to you, like the idea of maybe having bad stuff happen to you, being around different forms of narcissism, different forms of abuse, depression, you know, maybe suicidal thoughts. I can't say that I had direct suicidal thoughts, but there were many times for a large chunk of my life, there was nobody I wouldn't want to be as much as I didn't want to be me. And I hated everything about my situation on a whole for years and years in almost every way. You know, I just dreamt of being other people and having other people's situation. I mean, there were individual things I took pride in and things that I liked and in my family, like I appreciated things, but I can also relate to that mature sort of scope where, like, I mean, if I had a moron teacher at 5, I knew they were a moron. Forever, I've always had a good litmus test of when someone is smart and when someone doesn't make sense. And that part of me, I mean, I'm mature and I'm older, but sometimes I look back to things that I thought of, or I'll come across something I wrote or something when I was like a ninth grader. And I'm like, wow, like, am I dumber now? Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like I was pretty astute, man, you know, in
We
ways.
had it right. We were right,
Yeah.
but they fucking tried to, like, I did it for a while, man. I fucking became a Mormon. I went from punk rock skater to polo shirt wearing Mormon, shirt and tie, you know, stopped listening to all my music and only listened to gospel music, you know, and
How
classical
old were
music.
you when you got into Mormonism?
19. It was right after
That's
I
what it
came home
is.
from
Yeah.
Lions Den. I came home from the Lions. Oh, wow. I was at the Lions Den. I OD'd on meth.
There you
And
go.
I had my first drop into the DMT realm, like you could say, like I
My
had an
favorite.
in-depth experience kind of thing. And that I woke up, so like I was on my 5th day. I never did meth before, right? And I always just wanted to. All my friends in Akron, you know, they're always talking about it, just always talk, like get on talking, and your face hurts the next day because you're just talking, blah, blah. It's just so fun and just blah, blah, blah. So I did it, and I was doing it by myself. I was like, Jason and Frank were around. They didn't want any of it, but 5th day, my heart was going. When you know you're about to keel, dude, you know it's like something's up. Like, so I had my hand on the phone. I was about ready to dial 911, and I just was saying, I was just like, I don't want to die like this. I'm not a drug addict. I don't want my family. This is what it was. I didn't want my family. I didn't want it to go out like that because it wasn't the truth. I wasn't a fucking drug addict like that. I was just literally my first time. I was fucking stupid. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I OD'd. So I'm saying this prayer, if you will, and all of a sudden I just heard this woman's voice inside my head say, "Go to sleep and all will be well." And I'm like, next thing I go sit on the couch, close my eyes, I hear it again. I go out, I wake up the next day, I walk outside, and the fucking trees are talking to me. Not like this talking, but they're communicating with me. And they're telling me that everything has a soul, everything is alive, everything has intelligence, and they're all aware. And they said basically like, welcome to being aware, you know, and it never left. It never changed. So it was like, and I kept having these feelings that I had a work to do, that I had something I was meant to do, and that I need to be alive, and all these kind of things. So, and then but I had this feeling of, oh, that I had to make some changes. I had to do some things. So my buddies became Mormons. They shared it with me, and I thought this was the sign, you know, like this coincided with the feeling. I thought this was this. I didn't have the word synchronicity back then. This is 1994. But I that's what I put 2 and 2 together, and that I was supposed to do this and go on a mission. Like, these were things I had to do, and I had to change everything, dude. I had to quit smoking weed, drinking alcohol, coffee, tea, tobacco, and I had to go celibate.
Yeah, no more meth.
And dripping off. Fuck, dude.
Whoa.
I mean, I put myself through the psychological stoic ringer like a motherfucker. I mean, I went 2.5, 3 years with no sex.
Wow.
Till I got married. Yeah.
I mean, in a way, does it sound like something that you really, really needed? Like, in a way, was it like the shift you needed?
Like when you got someone telling you, you're like, this is how Christianity works. Your life is fine, right? Somebody comes in and tells you about this guy who died for all your sins that you didn't even know you fucking had.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to tell you how horrible you are, and everything you're doing is wrong, and there is no fucking chance. And then they say there's this guy who fucking did all this stuff for you, and so you can go to heaven, even though you never knew there was a fucking, you know what I mean? It's
right.
Like, so it's fucked up. Yeah, I don't buy. I'm completely disenfranchised with God and religion.
Yeah.
Child, and I'm like, no, I really just don't believe in God,
I mean,
like people do conventionally.
To be honest, though, you know, it's one of those things. Like, I have a couple very intelligent friends, good people. You know, one of them intelligent as hell, seemed like the nicest kid, sees the best in people, is a good person, is a positive energy. He got hanging out with white supremacists at the end of high school. And even now he still is like a removal from that. But sometimes like shit, like a liberal president and stuff like that makes him just kind of sound a little bit like borderline white separatist. And he's only been able to pan back and dial back. He needs the psychedelic breakthrough or something, or some sort of an epiphany. But, and then another one, got into like a gang, you know, attempted murder, that kind of. So it seems like you got an experience that you were able to fully remove from and go through something very pivotal and good.
At first I was pretty, you know, I was like, man, I wasted so much time. I so many things I would not have done. But, you know, I would never would have met my wife, man. I mean, like, I can't imagine anybody else, you know, that could put up with me.
Yeah.
You know, for 25 years and want to for another 25 more, you know. She's great, my kids are great, but I traveled and I did things, I served a mission, I did shit that a lot of people can never say they will ever fucking do in their life. I was a fucking missionary, right? As a matter of fact, I had tattoos too, you know, I had all my foreign tattoos and stuff. So I remember this one time I was riding up Bonanza, this fucking hill, it's like this. There was all these goth kids standing outside this like church or whatever, and they looked over and they go, "Mormons suck." And without hesitation, I go, "Fuck you." And they're like, and I drop my bike and I start walking towards them. And my companion is still riding. He doesn't know what's going on. And we have this rule where you have to be with your companion. Like you can't let him out of your sight kind of thing. So I'm like, fucking lucky. Got back on my bike, caught up to my
companion. That's funny. You're like the one Mormon who could be like, bro, I'm more fucking goth than you. You don't know goth.
There's these skater kids once, and we were walking, doing our tracking, and they were making fun of us. And I walk up to one, I kind of get in his face. Let me see your board. So I fucking do a street plant. I start skating and I do a street plant.
Yeah.
And then a street plant, and I taught them a lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
I taught them a discussion, a Mormon discussion.
I was born suicidal, you fucking poser. You know? Yeah. Get out of here, Hot Topic, man.
Yeah, that was another thing, man. Being surrounded by these little fucking dorks. I was 21 when I went on my mission, and all these kids are 18, Mormons who never fucking left Utah or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
They have these ideas of what life is like, and I'm already like, you guys are fucking snow job like crazy. All these shit, that ain't real life. I remember this one missionary saying, like, man, if I saw someone smoking a cigarette, I would never be friends with them. Or I'm like, well, shit, you never would have been friends with me. You know, yeah. I was being a convert to the church covered in tattoos, man. I didn't fit in well at all, no matter where I went. Either I was always either like a fun sideshow, like carnival sideshow kind of attraction, or this sob story of like how awesome of a conversion story. I was this hard fighting, fucking drug doing, delinquent. I gave myself to the Lord. Hallelujah, brother. You know.
Right.
Fuck off. God, the shit that people do. I don't know. But here's the thing. If people believe in religion, I'm cool with that. Like, I don't think you're stupid or whatever. I know I'm an intelligent person, and I believed in fucking Mormonism, for Christ's sake. You know, It's pretty extreme. You know, but it made the most sense to me. You know, it had a lot of more scientific type explanations of things, more plausible reasons. Like we have a mother and father in heaven. It wasn't just God just being an old dude. We actually have heavenly parents, and that we all lived there as spirits before we came to this earth. And this earth is for us to obtain bodies, to experience this pain, and to experience hardship. You know, leaving, not being trust fund kids anymore. You know, and then our whole goal is to go back with honor. You know, and then be resurrected to your body, become a god, and be like our heavenly parents and have our own children and have our own worlds and that kind of stuff. That was appealing to me, honestly. You know, it was better than playing harps and floating around in clouds kind of heaven afterlife story. You know, that's not fun. I'd rather be in hell getting poked in my ass with a pitchfork or something. If that's how it is.
Yeah, so.
But I did I had the epiphany and had my first like touch with near death or whatever, but I'll tell you, DMT is near death. I mean, that right there helped me a ton with like leaving, like when I was leaving the church and trying to reshape myself and help myself with the CT. Yeah, I don't know I don't have an actual diagnosis, but motherfucker, I've had compound concussion after compound concussion, and the way my brain works, I have to get checked out for TBI or something. But
so you mean doing DMT post or integrating out of Mormonism, you mean, is what you're referring to?
So mushrooms and DMT and LSD were a real major part in helping me break the program.
Yes.
The brainwashing of life. I gave myself all that. I mean, like what really started doing, because I mean, I was so when I was before the church, I was, the punk rock Democrat, the liberal kind of thing. And then when I joined the Mormon church, I became a very extreme conservative. Okay. Mm-hmm. Even I would have been fine with Christianity being the world religion kind of thing. Like it was weird. I was very like leaning fascism, kind of thing. It was weird. But then when I was in Okinawa, when the tsunami happened in Jakarta, Sumatra, I was one of the first Americans there to open up shop and help get supplies in the region. Something happened to me on that trip, man, where I'm around all these people where everything was taken from them and they're just smiling and happy. It was just a major shift. It was a paradigm shift of reality from what the Mormon paradigm was and the conservative paradigm was of how everything is. There's traveling the world just was different. It opened my mind and eyes to fight my cognitive dissonance. But it was, the worm turned. I gave up politics. It was like, okay, no more. I'm not into, just something happened. I don't know. It wasn't any one thing. It was just this overwhelming thing that's spending 50 days in a tsunami destroyed region, and being around people who don't skip a beat in their happiness. It was just nuts. It was a major shift for me. But yeah, I kind of took off the gloves of nationalism and became more of like what you would find in liberation theology. Like we're all illegals, we're all trespassers on this planet. Boundaries and borders are imaginary things. It's like me and a friend were talking about time. This is like a fucking prison planet. Humans are the only fucking thing that will imprison ourselves and each other. We do, like, think of city block. It's a cell block. Your apartment building or your house, it's your cell.
Yeah.
It's like everything about it is designed to be a prison. It's like I like these romantic ideas of alien battles and stuff, and that this was a place for prison, and the aliens fucking didn't want to do the work because it's all hard work, so they took monkeys and spliced their DNA and made us so that we could be their slaves and work for them. You know what I mean? But doesn't that make sense? Right. That we're just slaves? Who are we slaves to?
Right. I mean, yeah, it's so hard, man, because I mean, even that is just one sliver of the biggest picture, right? Like, even if that's the picture, even if that's the case, there's a bigger picture than that one. Like, we're so caught up on like what's one step away from us, as if that's the end. Like, something DMT has taught me is that there's something on the other side of every other side, and something grander. And even if you tap into something infinite, there's probably a deeper layer of infinite. And it's so deep. There's so much potential.
The infinite, to truly comprehend the infinite. When you start doing, doesn't your brain start burning a little bit?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I get something happening. Like when I start really like, and that's just in sobriety, not actually doing a DMT trip or anything like that. I just like, what was I fucking saying? Shit.
Yeah, getting lost in the idea of the infinite.
Yeah. Like
even as a sober person,
my brain almost gets hot.
Yes.
Well, like a swelling kind of feeling. It's like, but when I'm in the DMT state or mushroom state or something, or acid state, I'm able to endure that. I'm able to not just endure it, but explore it.
Experience it. You become it sometimes.
Yeah, dude, I don't do these things to have fun. I do things to learn about myself and the universe. You know what I mean? It's a necessity, man. Like it will help you break cycles that are bad. It will help break programming. It will help you form new pathways, neural pathways, new ways of thinking. Makes you very adaptive. There's so many ways, and then it's the best medicine. You know,
you don't have to consider faith. You don't have to consider the notion of whether or not there's something greater.
No, you're right there. No. Yeah, it's having a perfect knowledge instead of faith. And you know, and I know damn well that like all these prophets or whatever, you know, in scriptures, that was written under the influence of this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you a quick thing. Like my, so like
it has DMT in it.
Yeah. So for me, I had about a year period of time where I really threw myself to the DMT fire. I was going through like a ceremonial daily DMT session. And it led me to yoga practice. It led me to mindfulness. It led me to being able to conceptualize almost anybody who's has like philosophically sound things to say. It made me, it unlocked insane amount of empathy. It makes me consider so many things that I never would have considered.
It made me more gentle.
Yes. 100%. I'm way more gentle with people that don't know any better. I forgive people for the fun, for the craziest things. And I say, I could have just as easily. And
you're forgiving yourself now too, right?
Yes.
100%. With it, yeah. You know, it will teach you. It will lead you in right ways, and by the fruits you shall know them. Mm-hmm. If somebody religious wants to say it's, you know, it's what I got off of 8 different medications. Mm-hmm. Percocet being one of them. This was given to me. I wasn't like I didn't have to go to the street to get shit. This was prescribed to me. Okay, this was my daily prescription. Percocet, Celexa, which is an antidepressant, Lyrica, which is another antidepressant, but also for my fibromyalgia, Neurontin, gabapentin, you know, for nerve pain, Flexeril, Ambien, Concerta, keep me awake during the day. Fuck, where's the other one? I got one more. Shit, I'll think of it.
Were you on any sort of like mood thing, antidepressant?
Anti-anxiety. It was they would switch me between Klonopin and Ativan.
Right.
And then so that was my cocktail. So I had one doc ask me like, how the fuck am I still alive?
Yeah.
You know, it's like after being on that, I was on that for about 5 years. Not five. So it was from 2007. Yeah. 2007 to about 2012. Yeah.
This is normal. I meet people
between marijuana and psychedelics. I got off of every fucking single one of those medications. And I graduated with a 3.85 grade point average from for marketing and entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. I would have had a 4.0, but I had to quit smoking weed for 3 months for a drug test for an internship. I got a migraine from February 2nd till April 10th. I had to get CAT scans and shit, see what the fuck was going on. But as soon as I could smoke again, it went away. But yeah, so all of that. Like, and what was I gonna say? I'm sorry. Yeah. So all my accomplishments, like, and I invented, and I'm about to patent some new revolutionary fucking equipment.
It's insane. I love it, dude. I love it.
And I got myself, you know, from being a psychotic, screaming, yelling, father creating, secondary PTSD in my family, to a calm and gentle being who's actually able now to coach other people and how to be gentle being. It's like, but that's one of the things, if anybody's watching this and knows me, it's like, that's one of the reasons why I stay away from certain kinds of people. I don't like being around tough guys.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to be gentle. I'm trying to not be the yelling person. I'm trying to be the quiet person. I'm trying to be the listener and all these things, but I'm notoriously not. You know what I mean? But the psychedelics showed me that. It's very autodidactic in a way. We don't know if it's our brain. It can't just be our brains, because I know we see the same fucking things. I see it when somebody draws their experience. I'm like, yeah, I've fucking seen that. And
Yeah.
we see it in art all around us, most stuff, and then I've learned through the Wim Hof method of how to create a DMT dump without even smoking.
Oh,
I do DMT every single day, about 3 times a day.
From the Wim Hof, yeah.
Dude, I'm actually participating. For some people, it's when like they think they're going out, like they'll stand up and get that lightheadedness. I don't get a lightheadedness. I actually drop in. Everything gets the way everything looks and that thing. And I'm not about to pass out or anything, but I'm in the, kind of like I'm being shook up and I'm seeing everything. And it happens literally about 2 to 3 times a day, dude, against my will.
For me, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh no, it just happens against my will. It's like, it's so cool. It's not scary. It's not bad. And it's not a flashback like what people, that's probably a flashback. And that's bad. No, I do the Wim Hof method of breathing. And when I do that breathing, I know what's happening. I know how to tap into it now. I don't even need to.
You feel great afterwards. No, for me, I do a weird thing where I'm like sniffing as if I was a dog, like
fire breathing,
and allow like something to sort of like open up in my belly to where it's very overwhelming. And then I start to feel something generating inside me that doesn't happen with other forms of rapid breathing for me for some reason. I think it's just because I have a chronically like closed off diaphragm. It doesn't matter. The point is, when I do it, and then I just need to tell myself to make it past the discomfort and close my eyes and go internal. And it's like beyond passing out. It's like beyond hyperventilating. And it's like going external through going internal. And you get like just this, you become more and more, you just a very heightened state of everything. And then it is like the door is opened and you're experiencing things that, and what's so wild about it is you don't even realize when it's happening, usually, that it's different. You don't even realize that you're there yet. You're like, okay, keep doing this. Eventually I'm going to be, I feel like it's coming on. No, dummy, it's already there. You don't even realize you're like seeing like this crazy shit sometimes, sometimes. It's wild. Aubrey Marcus just did a thing where he was in the darkness for like 3 days, and a DMT trip just started coming on full blown, and he stayed there, and he was able to talk through it. He was able to realize it. And it's like, this is something that people from back in the day were tapping into on the regular.
Doing DMT, those things they're just little, they're sneak peeks for what we can do. We can do these things on our own. We can get there. The first matter of fact, I was like 16 or 15 years old, and I was meditating in my living room, just doing breathing meditation that I learned from martial arts. And all of a sudden I was like, almost like weightless, and like I just kept my eyes closed, but I just felt like this opening, like my body was doing this and opening up. And after I did DMT, I'm like, that's exactly what happened to me when I was 15. That's exactly what I experienced through meditation. So like, these things are just kind of like sneak peeks, or like a crutch. Like, sometimes we're not in the mind frame to get ourselves there or whatever. You just need to just fucking go into DMT land and get your answers, or, do the discipline, and try getting there without it.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And I only know to the level in which I've taken it. Like therapy, I know that if it was my goal, like if I was in a jail cell and it was my goal to get to DMT land, I think I would get a much purer, clearer, cleaner version, an even stronger version. And parts of me would stay there. Like, you know, when you become one with the infinite and you come back, it's like part of you stayed there. It's something it's not even whether or not we can go there. We're always there.
No, it's what it is. Yeah, we're always there. It's always,
just, yeah.
You're just coming back a little haunted. That's all. You're keeping,
yeah.
You know, you're able to just see more, man. I don't know. It's right. It's a good thing. You know, I really truly believe that it's a good thing. Psychedelics, and you know, it needs the medicine is, you know, like neuromedicine is starting to really break through, like with MDMA and, you know, psilocybin research and stuff like that, and they're really finding that it helps. But it's like they cannot fucking deny that it helps the brain. And like, I got to think about it. My mom's got Alzheimer's. My grandmother on my father's side had Alzheimer's. I have to protect my brain. Marijuana and psychedelics help with those things because it keeps the brain firing, keeps it going. Remember, like, we don't want to let it decay. We don't want to, like, when we sit too long, we rust. You know, a sitting duck is a dead duck. The only thing that keeps me going after all these surgeries, I mean, I got fucking 2 titanium rods in my lower back and a plate in my neck, you know, and then my SI joints are falling apart right now and completely arthritic. It's hell. But I still, one thing I learned in an acid trip, and my intention on an acid, this specific acid trip, was how to heal. And I always avoided the pain, you know, but now within this trip, like, I was trying to get, I actually learned, it taught me how to fix my SI joints on a daily basis, on how to get them to be set and good for the rest of the day.
Oh, dude, 100%. No, I'm somebody that when you were talking about the nerve pain, the chronic pain, all that, I mean, I can relate tremendously. I mean, from powerlifting, from being obese when I was younger, from just bizarre things, injuries. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I don't want to know, essentially. But I've seen the light. I've seen the sides of things that you can figure it out. You can find a way to subjectively both reverse engineer and figure out, and mentally and physically be on the other side of it, given any circumstance. It's not that surgery is necessarily right or wrong. It's not that a medicine that helps is necessarily right or wrong, but there is a way to align and figure yourself out. And I've been shown that it's an emotional thing. It's a physical thing. It's abstract. It's greater than that. It's skeletal, neurological, muscular. It's fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth systems. It's a chi system. It's a chakra system. It's all of them.
Yeah, it's all. We're the total package. We have all the knowledge and all the information within us. It's all there. It's always been there. It's what it is it's an act of remembering. It's an act of peeling off a protective, or not a coating of you that reveals the knowledge. You know, we don't actually learn, we just remember in life. You know, we already have all the knowledge, we know everything, but we've cluttered ourselves. We've, like, think of a wire that needs to conduct electricity and it's corroded. You know, we've allowed a corrosion on the terminal. You know, we have to keep it clean and thing, and we have to do these things. We have to, a good person will be in good shape, will be kind, will be, you know, like, again, the fruits, you will know them. You know, a good, well-rounded human in all things is going to be flexible, movable, you know, can still move and do all the things, and will help other people, and just be I'm having a hard time getting out what's in my head of what I want to say about this. As I had this thought the other day of what a righteous person would look like, you know, and a big fat overweight, you know, obese person spouting off moral things it's just a shut the fuck up kind of thing. But it's not about that. It's simply like this total package. You're going to be in good shape. You're going to have a healthy mental mindset. You're not going to be flying off the handle and an emotional human. You're not going to speak in absolutes of always and never. You're going to be this flowy fucking person who believes in anything or says, you know, everything, but is willing to allow things to pass through you and by you. And and you don't have to accept everything, but you can hear everything without having a trigger.
You're in control of your own perspective.
Yeah.
You can channel your perspective. And I don't know about you, but knowing that there is something greater than you out there, knowing that there is something that sees more than the K-fob that you present, there is somebody that actually knows you and something that knows you to the truest level. And if it's the karma gods or whatever, I mean, what a deal to become a better person. And then you know that going back into this headspace, you're going to pay for the wrong that you affect. You're going to feel the repercussions of being of a way that is not aligning with your truest inner self. So I don't know about
Heaven
you,
and
but
hell is within your head. Heaven and hell right here.
Yeah. Yes.
I can make a bad decision and hate myself for it and judge myself for the rest of my life and put myself in hell, live in hell.
Yes.
Or I can live with a clear conscience. That's what heaven and hell has to do with your conscience. Is it clear?
Yeah.
You're your own judge. What can you live with?
Right.
You live with yourself. I'm the hardest person for me to live with. And I live with 5 other people.
Yeah.
It's hard to accept myself, you know what I mean? But hey, it's like I always call it, like, when people call perfectionism and shit like that, or when you're harder on yourself than you are on others, I call that a form of narcissism, a moral narcissism, where you think you're better than other people because you hold yourself to a higher standard. Like, why? It's like you don't see each other. Like you're literally, by doing that, you're even judging other people. You're putting yourself higher than them. It's that hero mentality. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I had that. One of my recent posts was, I'm the proverbial warrior in the garden, but the garden is much harder to fucking tend than any war.
Yeah.
It's real easy to fucking do a one and done, die for something, but put one foot in front of the other daily to live for something. That's endurance.
Yeah.
Like people want to, put so much emphasis on self-sacrifice and sacrificing yourself for others. That's stupid. It's fucking dumb. How does that help this world? Why do you have to lay down your life for somebody else?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah, you love that thing and so on, and you be willing to do that, but it's still not the right fucking answer.
And how capable are you of helping others when you haven't, lived for you become a very powerful tool for others when you've walked your own path, man, for sure. You can really help others. You can really bring out the good in others by showing them what they're capable of through living your life a certain way, leading by example, 100%.
Yeah. And that was it's kind of like an allusion, to the bullshit of the political theology that I was talking about earlier. The greatest thing you can do as an American is to go die for your country.
Yeah.
I like Patton's idea better. I would let the other poor bastards die for their country. But like, again, with political theology, they like a lot of the people who believe in that kind of thing are Christians, and the argument against that would be, what did Jesus say? He is the last great sacrifice.
Yeah.
Nobody can sacrifice themselves for another. That's a blasphemy. It's like, you're not supposed to go sacrifice. Human sacrifice is stupid, folks. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Don't go sacrificing yourself.
No, you're basically just being a slave through helping others when you could be like you could be a leader and help others.
We're going and dying so that the politicians' kids won't, or that the people who are paying the politicians as the lobbyists, in the fucking military complex, industrial complex, and then other things, it's like all the people who run the country, they're not making any sacrifices. They want us to.
Yeah. This is funny.
That alone.
Yeah. It's good we got down this conversation because I had like a couple more things. It doesn't matter. We've covered on them, but the last thing I had written in your bio on here was some hyperspace street cred with psychedelic gods. You've got the street cred with the psychedelic gods. So it's cool we've gone down this lane. I do have a question with something that you said, and you touched on it when you said like being able to do all these different things. You have your business going, you all this. Ryan in the Grappling Central podcast made a comment. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have martial arts. I don't know what I would do with my life. And you were like, bro, I would do anything. I would get into tattoo art. I would get into this. I could take anything, you know, like you could live a million lives in this one life. And I related to that so much.
I believe in that. I must have been on octopus in a past. Because the octopus is the perfect mascot of my life. It's the perfect, and people think I'm weird with it or whatever, but dude, I'll cry over that shit. Like that shit touches me. Like the octopus is real, man. Like my life of 19 surgeries and constantly being fucked, you know, but always moving forward. I tend to regenerate somehow. Like you can't keep me down, kind of thing. You know, like when I move, when I grapple, you know, everything has its own, you know, all my limbs have their own brain. They all just know where to go. They know what to do. I mean, I can be this or that. I can look like this or look like that. It doesn't, you know, I'm better than a chameleon when it comes to that. Now, I'm not saying I'm fake. I'm just saying I can adapt to the situation, like any Marine would appreciate, adapt and overcome. You know, that's what an octopus does. I adapt and overcome. This tattoo right here, it says Fukutsu. It's indomitable. You know, never stop, never let anything keep you back. You know, Alien Blueprint. You know, that's a nod towards Henry Rollins' song. You know, him. He was one of my my remote mentors in life. You know, his spoken words and his messages, and even Black Flag had wisdom. Yeah, that was a classic, dude. That was just a wholesome fucking band. I mean, he's wholesome if you think about it. Henry Rollins is a wholesome human being. But the Alien Blueprint, you know, is the name of my company, which, you know, I just kind of kept it. It was like, hey, you kind of helped me make it through my life, you know. You know, and the song Alien Blueprint, if you pull that up sometime, and it's the one that done at Lollapalooza. He gives a foreword to the song about, you know, growing up, you know, being told you're a fucking idiot, you know, and
it's on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, and you fucking make it anyways. You know, it's about making it anyways. That's what my life is about. And you know, it's like I never got to be a champion because it was always another surgery around the corner. Every time I think I'm getting ready to do something great, surgery. Like when I took second in the first Arnold Classic grappling tournament, I just came a year to the day of having double shoulder surgery. So I spent that whole year down, and then I got to train maybe a month. I was asked at the last minute I wasn't even going to compete in it. I didn't think I could, you know, just had fucking double shoulder surgery. And I ended up taking second place. I lost to David Van Est, and then him and I became really good friends and training partners. Really cool. And then after that, you know, surgery, you know, and then I joined the military. You know, I was never meant to be a champion. I was never meant to be something great in martial arts. My shtick in our industry is that I have been around from the beginning. I've been doing, like, 1990 is when I started martial arts in general. 1994 was when I got, you know, watching the first UFC, fought in the second, trained fighters to fight in it. You know, I've always been connected to it somehow. I've always evolved. I kept learning. I achieved black belts in judo. I was a striker when I fought in UFC, and now I have more grappling experience than I do striking. So I took my weakness and turned it into a greater strength than I ever have. No, I'm not a champion, but I can make you one. I've got all the knowledge to do it, you know, that kind of thing. So I have to live through other people now when it comes to that. But guess what? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if my fighters win or lose. I care about what's going on in between their head and how they feel, you know. I give them knowledge, and it's up to them with what they do with it. But that's the real deal. I'm not some awesome anything. I'm no Gordon Ryan. I'm no Ken Shamrock. I'm no Hoist Gracie. I've just got longevity. I've been never stopped doing it. And I've kept my eyes and ears open. And I've always had cutting edge ideas on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've always been ahead of the game. This is the way my brain works. This is just my savant. This is martial arts is what I know really well.
Yes. It's a lot of fortitude that other people don't hold on to, man. There's just that nonstop, like that perseverance and fortitude, and just constantly on the other side of your mistakes, constantly on the other side of your, weaknesses.
Yeah, man. If you don't give up and you stay in the game, it's just, dude, life is long. Like, it's never too late for anything. It's fucking nuts. And once you get, well, I've tapped into, I haven't lived in time for a long time. Time is gone. Doesn't exist to me anymore. It's not already start running out. I know now.
Yeah.
Just be, just do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, man. You talked about tattoos. I have like I have a thing, you can't see it on here too well, but it's just a hand that has an infinity sign tattooed on it. The bottom of it is decaying and dying, and the top of it is this bright compass of infinite energy. And it's just like represents that we are tapped into compass at the way top. I don't know if you can see, there's like the fingertip is a compass. Gotcha. Like a bright little psychedelic burst of it. But the idea is like of everything. We are losing and holding on to everything at the exact same time, like this infinite and finite, mortal. And what it's like, we live forever, but everything dies at the same time. Yes. And that the paradox, the grand paradox is once you've come to the paradox, once you've come to the yin and the yang, you've figured it out.
A sure sign of a truth is that it's a paradox.
Yes, I agree so much.
All truth is a paradox.
You can't take it any further than that. That is nature. That's the scientific law. I do want to ask you something. You're the perfect person to ask for this, because the first guest I had, he has a very good understanding of what's lost in modern day strength philosophy. And you're somebody that's been around, martial arts, like you said, especially in our martial arts since the beginning. I mean, even jujitsu was in its infantile stages compared to what it is now.
Yeah, in America. Yeah.
What do you think is this? This might be tough but I'm sure you'll have something. What do you think is missing? If there was something that people nowadays don't understand about the way that it was, what history needs to be remembered for martial artists and people, whether they're a sports competitor, whether they're just practicing anything? Is there something at the high level that is missing that people possessed? Maybe not fully, obviously people of the modern day maybe have progressed in a way that it's, but there's got to be pieces that you use that are absent from the way things were.
And this is on the strength side of
No, I was just saying that my first guest has a similar commentary on strength and conditioning. I was saying from a martial arts perspective, what's missing.
Okay, so this is another one of my shticks. This is what, like, if you were to talk to Emil Fisher or anybody who's ever, with a seminar or private lesson or whatever, is that the slowdown. Everybody's just constant go, hard work. Not enough soft work. Not enough working with your blood pressure low, your heart rate low, no fucking adrenaline dumps or anything like that. Actually smoothly learning and working techniques and concepts. Like, I don't do big warm-ups before I teach or anything. I don't want anybody breaking a sweat hard or anything like that. That's for after, or you'll through the drilling, you'll get your warm-up. We're literally going smooth. I don't want to talk louder than this. when I'm teaching.
Mm,
You understand what I mean? It's a
yes.
different dude. Like when I've taken people and like it's usually in a private lesson, man, they've like, I don't even want to go back to class. I just want my lessons to be like this. You know, I had one time where me and my tattoo artist, one of my best friends, Rich Cook, we're at Greystone Tattoo Company. You know, I trade jujitsu. He does the octopus, right? So one day I took my travel mask, we put it in his backyard, and we're out there in our geese grappling, and all of a sudden it's thunderstorm, man, just out of nowhere. We didn't even know it was gonna happen. And we're like, should we clean up? No, my masks are waterproof. Let's just stay out. Let's just do jujitsu like this, man. I remember he had me pinned down. I was on my back, and I look up and I just see this giant raindrop right in my eye. It was just such a cool Zen kind of feeling. And after we were done, we were both ruined. It was like
Mm,
we don't ever want to do jujitsu in a class again, you know.
yeah.
Um, but when you spend a half hour with me and I'm teaching you something, you're going to get it. Anytime I ever teach anything, you don't leave me that day, that lesson, that hour, whatever, until you have it. And the way I teach, people get it very quickly. I teach in a way that you learn very fast. And it's because I'm an autodidact. I'm a very neurodivergent thinker and odd person. It's hard for people to teach me. I have to basically just spit out the information. I'm going to take it and I'm going to go home with it and I'm going to learn it. I have a
Yeah.
hard time with people because they have a hard time understanding what I'm doing up here. Like kind of like how you're saying how your brain works. You know, I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what I was saying.
Yeah, no, yeah, just the idea of how you're conveying these things, slowing things down so it can be understood a
Yeah,
certain way.
the
Yeah.
way I teach. Sorry, it's the way I. It's the topic is the way I teach. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you see how bad this is, dude? Like I'll do this in class and
No.
I'm thinking, hey guys, what did I just say?
Yeah.
Sorry. And it's starting to scare me, honestly. It's like, anyways, but yeah, I uh I like to keep the heart rate down and you know, because you learn better when as soon as you have adrenaline what, kicks in cortisol. Cortisol goes onto your dendrite, coats your dendrite, and doesn't allow the synapses to make a connection. It doesn't allow you to create memory.
Mm,
So when you take the cortisol out of the equation, the adrenaline out of the equation, you now have the ability to absorb.
love it. Yes.
So what you want is your first half hour of instruction to be like that, and then ramp up the drilling of so you've done this 1,000 times, slow and smooth as fast kind of thing. Now we
Mm-hmm.
start adding speed and getting our heart rate up and getting that muscle memory attached to the, you know, everything else and doing it under a stressed environment. You see what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
sequence of events of how you need to learn in order for you to obtain it and use it. And as I've done that, it really works. That's kind of like the main thing I get. Like I was doing this really complicated leg lock seminar, and there was a guy from the school that it was literally his first class was my leg lock seminar, and he did it just fine. His literal first fucking jujitsu class was my seminar, leg lock seminar, and he was hitting those fucking leg locks by the end of the day. Like everything he was doing mechanically sound and everything.
His
And
own
now
stupid thoughts weren't getting in the way. Boy, are we used to that trying to show people stuff. Well, I was just thinking if, oh, no, stop.
yeah,
Absorb what I'm saying. Stop telling me what you were thinking. Clear that.
yeah,
Yeah, we don't want to know why you were doing the wrong shit. We need to know why we're doing it the other way. I'll tell you something that's very inspiring about you, and it was affirming. Here's this guy talking about exactly the way I bring all of my arts and things together to make unique me. You were talking about how, and this is something that I think the greatest could be better at, and it would change the game. You'd get a lot of more artists out there and a lot more fingerprints out there. And I can't say that it would always be beneficial, but it's such a great tool. So you talked about how there's so many things to be learned and applied to fighting, to grappling, to whatever, that so much so that you've learned things like Systema or been around things like that. And you've found a way to find the parts of it that can be beneficial. And for me, For instance, when I was learning the drums, I was thinking, I'm not learning the drums, I'm learning jujitsu. Why? Because I'm learning how to juggle left hand, right hand, my feet. I'm thinking of rhythm and how it applies. Yeah.
Hearts off, soft, hearts off, soft, hearts off, soft, hearts off.
Yes.
That shit is so fucking hard for me, by the way.
Yeah, you're juggling. Then if you add the nod, so why did I start nodding my head to a rhythm while I was drumming? Because in jujitsu, I'm doing jujitsu. I'm juggling my left arm, my right arm, head position, foot. Now I want to listen.
The guitar is amazing, and piano and stuff like that, because it's using both hemispheres. It's joining both hemispheres. It's almost like a psychedelic. Music is a form of, like playing music and hearing music is a form of psychedelic therapy.
So this thing that you've done, you can now apply to your grappling, your fighting. If you're aware of it, you can apply it tenfold. So are there like things like for instance, how I just said that maybe when I'm learning musical scales, maybe I'll think of drills. And then when I'm learning how to actually play music, I think of rolling or whatever analogies. Are there things that you can think of that you've applied to the artist that is you?
That 12 octaves is all there is.
Yeah.
There's only 12 techniques, but an endless amount of symphonies can be made. Same thing with jujitsu.
Yes.
There's only a certain amount of techniques, but there's only so many techniques really, but infinite amount of ways we can do it. It's how 12. It's one of the magic numbers. But music
what do you think of? What do you think of like the idea of connectivity and invisible jujitsu and like becoming one with the energy that you're connected to? Like, do you think about that kind of stuff when you're locked up with somebody? Are you thinking about the parts of you that are connected to them in a cerebral way, a sensitivity sort of way?
Let's hold that thought. I got to piss so bad.
Yeah, go pee. I'll pee too. So if you're listening, I'm going to pee too.
All right.
All right, I am back, guys. It's been a great podcast so far. Sean's awesome. My dog is sleeping on the couch. He was snoring at one part. He's giving me a funny look. You're a good boy, huh? Thank God American Bulldogs don't bark a lot. Killing it over there, bud.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So
if I hold my piss for so long, dude, like
yeah.
I try to go, my prostate's a little bit enlarged, and it's like,
oh my God. Good. So I'm thinking another 15, 20 minutes. So we'll wrap this up, and then you know, we can always, like I said, I'd love to have you on again. But do you remember what we were talking about?
Yeah, so that was a good question. Like I feel like where I feel all the energies, like kind of like in my mindful. Yeah. So the first time I ever experienced a heavy mindful roll was I had this hour-long roll. And I made us all listen. That was in Okinawa. I had a school there in Okinawa. It was on base. It was like a racquetball. room court turned into a dojo. And I put on Lateralis and just played that the whole time. And we all just grappled to it. And I just hit this flow state of just this untouchability, this Zen fucking where everything was in line in every way. And I was damn near indestructible kind of thing. Like I knew the end from the beginning. I was tapped in, man. You know, this is me, Mormon boy, completely sober, you know, kind of thing. I was, you know, I've been having, I am a psychedelic experience, okay? You know, I am psychedelics. I am psychedelics, okay? I'm like, you know, matter of fact, one of the last times I did DMT, it told me don't come back.
Yeah.
Bring others.
I've been there. I came back.
Me too, but I needed a confirmation that I still was loved. That I needed to be, that was still worth being loved.
Yeah.
You see, that's why I do things like that. You know, it's to make sure, like, hey, am I still worth loving?
Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is yes. I mean, but I got to go and, you know, get the, you know, hear it. You know, it's just like I still need to hear it sometimes. But yeah, man, like if you don't have spiritual experiences, you know, doing jujitsu, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's a craft. It's a craft that will, you know, like anything we do. I mean, any true craft out there, you can learn about yourself. Masons, you know, did it with using masonry. You know, the Freemasons, they use, it could be a boat. Masonry could have been built, or you know, done around boat builders. It could have been around house builders. It could have been whatever, you know, a cabinet maker. You know,
Right.
it's just esoterics. It's taking stories, parables of, and comparing them to your life and your mind. Everything is like that. Like I know the Bible front and back from being a missionary, dude. That's the wild thing. I'm a heretic, but I know that stuff better than most people do. You know.
Yeah.
But like I said, I try not to be too offensive about that kind of stuff because you know people do hold that to their beliefs. But if you're somebody I know who will go to violence, if I insult your God, I'm going to insult your God.
Yeah.
I'm going to push you. I'm going to, you know, because it's just insane to me. That's to harm another, to lift a fucking weapon or harm another person over words that's the ultimate snowflake kind of mentality.
Yeah. I agree.
Drives me nuts. It's like that's what I hate about the whole Islam thing. You know, if you say something about Muhammad, oh, you're gonna die. Oh, fuck off. You know.
Yeah.
But I've had Christians where fuck your God. Oh, livid. What? Your God can't defend himself? Is he that weak? What the fuck? You know.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a great point. Yeah.
God doesn't get offended. They're above that, right? A being wouldn't be offended. A perfect being doesn't get jealous. A perfect being, you know, is fair and just and all those kind of things, and not a two-sided, you know, narcissistic parent. That's exactly what religion reminds me of. A narcissistic parent just beats the shit out of you, you know, and tries to comfort you and make you feel better about yourself. That beats the shit out of you, you know, mentally, spiritually, physically, whatever. It's just garbage. Can't do it. And I'm somebody who you would not even believe. Like I was staunch, believed everything literally. It was nuts.
Yeah, that is
Kind of
so here's a good question. When you were hooked like that, and it's like not even towards the end, because obviously some things happen where you had revelations. I'm even talking in the heart of it, when it was at its best, were things like the suicidal thoughts, were those sorts of things dampened? What was it like to love Mormonism?
They were heightened, man. It's such a perfectionist kind of thing. Like dude, you went to church for 3 hours on Sunday, and then if you had callings, you usually had about 2 hours in the week that you had to do something at the church building, and then you were a home teacher or a visiting teacher where you had like 5 families that you had to go home teach every month and go visit them. It's very strenuous. Then like certain callings you're going to be gone a lot, like a lot of times in the evenings and stuff, lots of leadership type things. And I was always a teacher and a leader in teacher and leadership positions in the church, which, I mean, I'll tell you what though, man, I learned all kinds of cool shit about life, man, like good stuff in management and leadership, in teaching, how to be a teacher, you know, like all kinds of things, dude. I taught every day, man. Like if I had a calling in life, it would be teacher. I guess everything I've ever done, I've had to teach or train others. But yeah, I got a lot of good out of it. Like I'm not angry about it. I was angry when I first left the church, when I really accepted, okay, I fucking this bullshit. I wasted a lot of time. But now I'm looking at, like, just like with the seasonal affectiveness, you know, disorder. I'm taking the approach of a positive. Like I'm looking at this time of year as like I'm not going to let the depression part take over. I'm going to actually use this time to actually do different things. I'm going to do the things that I'm going to need a quiet space for. You know, I'm thinking of it differently. So now I took my experience and I'm like looking at what did I get out of it? What did I gain from it? What was right about it? And there's so many good things so many things that are the guy that you're talking to today, the guy that you like, are because of those things.
Yes.
There's a lot of part of me that I am today because of those things. I don't want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
You know? And I said, I've learned that there is no time. I didn't waste time. I didn't lose time. I didn't gain time. Everything's right. Everything's okay. You know, that's where I'm at with it all now. It's like I have no emotion about the topic. You know what I mean? It's gone from me. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I just generally, I can honestly say that I'm reaching happiness, and I'm reaching. I'm not there. I mean, it's a work. It's a constant fight every single day. Any of this stuff. If you think it's a one and done with anything, no, it's a constant one foot in front of the fucking other marathon.
You're just on the right side of the battle, right?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a lot of things that we think there are. There's no such thing as perfect alignment. There's no such thing as symmetry. There's no such thing as being in pain versus no pain. There's no such thing as a lot of things that we would, you know, fact and fiction. It's like, it's very hard to get on the firm side of anything. So I would say, as long as you're feeling happier, as long as you're feeling better, as long as you feel like you're on the right path, I mean, that is the one that's what matters. Are you on the right side of any battle or any situation? Because that's all we can really be on, is the side that we need to be on of any dynamic.
Yeah, be on the side of control and not, you know, the control's an illusion. What I mean is like, be in the driver's seat. Don't be the one dictated to be the dictator. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like, just take control of that shit. Don't allow yourself to be pushed around. Don't wait for a savior. Don't wait for somebody to come do it for you or whatever. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, but
yeah.
Now,
here's a question, something as we kind of wrap up. Is there anything you want to say about what you have going on now? You know, you say you have this project, this patent thing. I mean, you don't have to be specific.
Not yet. I gotta
Nothing
get the
yet.
patent first.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Well, then let's say, people can, you're on your Instagram. It's at Alien Blueprint, which I guess is also the business that you're you're working things under that moniker.
Yeah, so with that, I was just like, you know, what am I doing? I don't know. Well, I might as well start putting this name on things. I'm getting mail now, you know, the Alien Blueprint LLC. So it's like, it's just a magic thing for me, like chaos magic. Like I'm setting intents, you know, just, okay, Alien Blueprints on my thing there. There's just one small little token towards it, and do little things towards it, you know. Who knows? I might make
Yes.
t-shirts with this. This is just my LLC. So for my 1099, as I do jujitsu, it's a little bit of everything. It's like it's my license, it's my business license to work.
It's what the psychedelic athlete is now. That's all that is.
Yeah,
It's like, why make a different name for my podcast? I was thinking about,
it's a good brand.
yeah, it's my brand. It's whatever. It's all of it.
It's awesome. It's a good thing. And you know what blew my mind is that nobody fucking took Alien Blueprint.
Especially because it's the Henry Rock. Like it's not. Yeah, that's insane.
Like I can't some old punk from back
because you've always had it. It's always been yours. Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I think that's a hell of a conversation, man. I would love to have you back on, and maybe what can happen is if we talk again, we can just try to say like a specific thing we definitely want to talk about, and then ramble about whatever the hell, because I love just the
plan some stuff and do off. This was a cool off the cuff. We didn't plan anything beforehand.
Yeah.
An intro. Plus, like it's got to be a continuum, because I would hate for the audience, to sit there and think, like, especially if anybody's Christian or Mormon. Look, I don't hate you. I don't have any bad feelings. That's just my journey and how, the feelings and thing I have with it. I don't look down upon others or anything like that. I don't want to.
Now Islam, on the other hand, no, I'm just kidding.
All of it, honestly, all of it, like any religion. I don't believe religion is good across the board.
Right.
You do, but like if somebody does, that's fine. I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying, like, from that conversation, it's fine. But do not. This is a good thing. Do not try to fucking proselytize me.
Yeah.
Don't try to convert me. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't. You live according to the way you want to live your religion. Don't say how your religion dictates how I'm supposed to live.
You can be right or wrong, just don't be bad. Yeah, don't be a dick. Don't be that kind of stuff. Well, dude, it's been great getting to know you better. If I would tell myself the version of me that was listening to that podcast and these little light bulbs going off, that I would be talking to you now, been having like a history of friendship, sort of with you since then and stuff.
We talk at least once a day almost.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's really cool, and it's sincere, and it's one of those things where I hate to like impose on people that are inspirations to me, but it just obviously, I mean, we didn't even get into punk rock. We didn't even get into like so many other things that we've connected with. And it's cool to meet somebody else that has all those parallels, man, and the synchronicity.
It's fun.
Like Bud Light Seltzer.
Yeah.
It's
fun. That's one thing I like. Everybody talks about the demonization of the social media platforms. No, you're the demon.
Yeah.
Social media is good. This internet is good. Look how cool this is. We get to connect. I like this. You might as well be in my living room. You're like with me right now and drinking these together and having it. That's fellowship. It's awesome.
Yes.
And good ideas can be spent out there, and we can hash things out in this realm. We could have 5 other people from other countries, and we could all be talking about this shit. That's something we should do sometime, is do like a multiple.
Yeah.
People on, and we're all just talking, because I don't want it to be about me. This wasn't about me. This was just like we talked about. This is supposed to be a cool thing for us to get our personalities out there and just talk about this shit and spitball the ideas. I need to come up with some talking points, and I need to ask you questions.
Yeah, dude. Hey, it was nice to have one where we just kind of go over some basics, because some people that are going to listen to future ones will only know you well from this. So it was essential, but all those sound like great ideas. I'd love to get some cool minds, some people, even if it's like somebody in person next to you on the, because you have some people in your immediate reach that, I mean, it's crazy. We could go on forever just setting the future. But I mean, you talk about Emil, you talk about how, freaking John Gunther and all these.
Yeah, dude, we've been going to the pool. I've been training him like I did for Indoc, for pararescue Indoc.
Oh,
taking him through water confidence training and stuff, like showing
What
him
an
how
amazing soul. Is he just the most
he's
amazing?
beautiful,
The
fucking
most
beautiful,
amazing.
wonderful human being.
I've watched his
Wonderful.
season of The Ultimate Fighter so many times. I've probably watched The Ultimate Fighter more than
Dude,
anybody
I've known
else.
him since before he even knew this shit was gonna happen.
God, is he a legend?
Oh, he's great, dude. He's an awesome human being. He's like somebody you want to know. And if he's
Yes.
one of the people, if you don't like him, there's something wrong with you, and I'm gonna have to judge you.
He doesn't have to learn how to be a monk. You know what I mean? He was,
Dude, he's a
he's
walk.
just,
He's a sage, dude. He's just, I mean, he's not like somebody who's gonna tell you, like try to tell you something, like try to be a life coach. You just ask him a question, what he says is pretty much there you go.
oh, and I can just see how you would be in that. So it's very fitting. Like, of all the people that you could be surrounded by,
Yeah.
of course you're surrounded by the people you're
I
surrounded
call
by.
actively, hey, yo, let's go do
Oh,
something.
do you just feel better after spending, like, is that, do you
Yeah,
just
dude,
always feel good around him?
He's a magical fucking unicorn.
God.
He's a living, breathing, fucking magical human, dude. He's great.
Well, you have to tell him that he has a huge fan. He's another one that I love I admire you guys a lot.
I'm
Huh?
sure
Oh, awesome.
I could probably have him like just sit down, he fucking just come sit down here and fucking
Yeah, I mean, get to both of you or whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll make that work. That'd be fucking
we'll set
awesome.
that one up. He'd probably be into it.
Yeah, cool. Well, look, dude, it's been great. Thank you so much. You're the fucking man, dude. I am gonna listen back to this episode.
I love you, man. I think you're awesome.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna listen back to this, and I'm gonna love thinking about and hearing and knowing that this is a permanent record of this conversation. So awesome, guys. Check Sean out. Great motherfucker. And yeah, tune into episode 3 next time. And I'm sure Sean will be back before long. Cool. Peace. Awesome, dude. Let me hit this little record button, and we are